Welcome to another hot new mod showcase, the show in which we don't only take a look at a few cool new mods, but also kill Nazim a few times over and over. If you're into Skyrim mods, make sure you're subscribed because I have a feeling you'll enjoy my videos. Let's start off by going for a run. Dynamic Sprint is a new animation mod for when your character sprints, and the type of animation will play based on certain conditions. The animations are dependent on the weapon or magic that you're holding, and you'll also get a different animation if you're in combat as opposed to non-combat. This mod will also introduce a dash right after you start sprinting, a new pre-sprint animation if you will, that will act as an immersive transition between standing or walking around to sprinting. In a way, this is an add-on to random sprint animation that I reviewed a while ago. And while that focuses on diversity of animations, Dynamic Sprint focuses on having a suitable animation for each weapon. Speaking of weapons, I forgot how fun warhammers are. I haven't used them in a while. Next up, we have Skyland Bits and Bobs, the latest massive addition to the Skyland Retexture series, changing the textures of most random miscellaneous item and more around Skyrim. This would make your clutter look so much nicer. It's incredible to think how many items actually exist in this game, and this mod changes over 100 of them. From weapon plaques to wall baskets, from wine bottles to tankards, from business ledgers to coin purses and keys, from MXR to Nariva. Didn't say all changes had to be good. But you get the point. If you're planning to bring Skyrim textures to 2023, this is a perfect mod for you to add. And it's definitely one I will be using in my next graphics overhaul. That is probably like due.
¿Quieres?
So in the last episode of Hot New Mods, I reviewed a mod that makes crates look very realistic. Well, what if I told you that now we have a version of that mod for barrels? With this mod, your barrels will look old, broken, dirty, just as they should in a world like Skyrim's, because these bad boys are transported and carried all over Tamriel. It just makes sense that they're all messed up. Messed up like my life. Now in the before and after shots, that is clearly not vanilla. Not sure which of the many texture mods that I have that's from, but it still gives you an idea of what all barrels is all about. This mod also includes an optional file adding meadery logos to barrels, making them even more realistic. I do recommend getting the optional file as well, as the two competing businesses would obviously do their best at medieval branding. So we can all agree that orcs are often the forgotten race of Tamriel.
How could this happen to me?
Let's take a look at two series of mods overhauling the orc strongholds, probably the most unique stronghold type in Skyrim. First off, we have the Spaghetti series, and we will visit Largisburg for this. This mod adds some more details to the already very cool strongholds in the game. I really like Spaghetti's overhauls because they're really nice, clean, add quite a lot, and they're very performance friendly. And it's great to see them work on more locations now that they finished with the City series. Maybe I should get back to making cities. They take a while to make, that's why. However, if you're planning for a total overhaul, we have the Stronghold series by J. Jerem. We will visit more Kasgir Stronghold for this, adding multiple areas such as a training ground, a relaxing area, and more huts, making this stronghold feel more like a village. Just look at the before and after. And there are also mods available for other strongholds such as Dushnik Yal, Largisburg, and Narzilbur. I'm having a stroke reading my script. This is obviously a bigger and more demanding series than Spaghetti's, and I wanted to show off both versions so you can make the choice yourself, based on preference and computer specs. So Skyrim obviously doesn't have an HVAC system. Do I really have to make that statement? So given the abundance of wood chopping blocks all over the world, I think it's safe to assume that they use wood for heating up their homes. Skyrim can get really chilly. But where does everyone store their wood? In their pants, hopefully. With Woodsheds of Skyrim, you can answer that question as it adds a bunch of sheds to store your firewood all over the province. This is an immersive detail in the same realm as Duty and Immersive Laundry, so you know I'm a big fan. There's not much more you can do with them other than notice them and say to yourself, yeah, I'm immersed. So as a third-person player myself, this mod went over my head. But I really wanted to show it off here regardless. This is Improved Camera SE, a mod that allows you to interact with things in Skyrim that would typically force you out of first person in first person, such as crafting, cooking, and other interactions. If you walk around and look down, you'll also be able to see your body, which is, sure, not the first mod that attempts this, but it's still ridiculous that it's not a vanilla feature. You'll also now cast a shadow, as your third person body is a physical thing, whereas in vanilla, I can only imagine you're just a floating camera. For me, the highlight of this mod is being able to transform into a werewolf and a vampire lord form in first person, which sometimes feels amazing. But sometimes the camera does go a little crazy, and if that happens, you can obviously just switch back to third person if you want. Overall, while this mod can benefit from a few updates and more smoothness, I guess, it's still a really great foundation for a next-gen first-person gameplay overhaul, and I'm really happy to see it trending on the Nexus. In Skyrim, sleeping is only optional. I mean, imagine if you didn't have to sleep in real life, you'd be so OP. There are so many mods that make you need to sleep, but this one is pretty interesting and immersive. Exhaustion, incremental fatigue adds a new system that will make your character feel tired. Your stats will now have a cap the more stat damage you get. Let's say you take literal damage and your health is lower, this also means that your maximum health will also decrease. You can also get stat damage by using stamina and magicka, and the more stat damage you get, the more you'll be penalized. There are 5 thresholds. Every time you pass a threshold, your max stat will be decreased by 0.5%. Let's say you're running until your stamina gets fully depleted, you will hit all 5 thresholds, meaning you'll be penalized 5 times, so by 2.5%. Every time you do this, your max stat will decrease by that amount. This is what incremental fatigue means. To make this easy to showcase, I'll set my fatigue to f***ing hardcore mode. And let's try this with magicka. Now after hitting all those thresholds, my magicka won't go past this point. In order to fix this, you need to go to sleep, and each hour will increase your caps by 10%, allowing you to do it again in the future. By default, if you sleep in a bed that's not yours or owned by an inn that you rented, so let's say you sleep in a cave or something, you will get half of the benefit, so by default it will be 5%. Now, this is a very immersive way to approach fatigue, and I truly appreciate it. It does make the game more difficult though, as you need to watch out to not use all your resources, but thankfully, you can configure the mod through the MCM. So you're looking for a cool sword mod? I got one for you. Animated Dwemer Core Sword is a massive sword you can use to kill Nazim over and over again. Now this sword is obviously not realistic, but it fits the fantasy aspect of Skyrim really well, with a blade from what looks to be malachite, powered by a Dwemer core to, I guess, make it feel lighter, not to mention the spiky ball. Nariva, are you compensating for something? Yeah, but I don't see how that's relevant. According to Nexus user Starhy, the Sword of Dungeons & Dragons is an MTG card that features this exact sword. That's probably where the model is from, and the card itself is based on a set of 10 other swords from a game called Swords of X and Y. The more you know. Now if you enjoyed this video, please leave a like, a nice comment, and make sure you're subscribed. Sometimes YouTube does this thing where it forgets to automatically subscribe to this channel when someone makes a new account, so make sure that doesn't happen to you. Everybody needs to be subscribed to this channel, so make sure you're not missing out. Do consider supporting me on Patreon, as it fuels more and more content you see here. And you can also be a stinky Nazim lover, meaning I can legally roast you in my videos. And you also get to see deleted scenes and stuff, which is really cool. With that said, click on this video. I have a feeling you'll like it. Was that? You already saw it? Doesn't matter. Watch it again. Now, leave me alone.